So if you're thinking about moving to Denver, but what we really want to understand is how much is it actually going to really cost? Is it affordable for me? Stick around. We're going to go deep dive into some different subject matters for you if you and your family are preparing to family and having moved to Denver in 2025. We'll get into things like housing costs for utilities, costs for healthcare, costs for eating out, costs for activities like exercise, gyms, etc. And some areas at the end, stick around, that if you're looking for school districts, what the average cost of housing is in those areas, and some neighborhoods to think about if you're going to come in here and rent, you don't have kiddos just yet. As we move along, if you find value in this, make sure to subscribe and hit that button so that you are updated along the way with more videos like this of building wealth through real estate here in Denver, Colorado. I'm just going to jump right in with the total cost of living in Denver does run about 6.8% higher than the national average. You're going to find some interesting things out as we move along in this today, and that is housing. Let's go right into that as well. As far as housing goes, national average might be in the 359 range according to Zillow, as you can see here, but in Denver, you might be looking more at like 549. Now, of course, that's going to depend on the area, just as it would in any city across the country, so average costs there. Coming in and renting, bear in mind that again, Denver is above the national average. I have a chart here, you can kind of see that. Nationally, $1,739 according to Rent Cafe, whereas Denver is running about $2,010 per month, the same comparable apartment if you're renting in Denver compared to in other parts of the country. Let's talk about utilities. Denver might average about $170 a month. Now you might have gas and electric here in Denver if you own a home. You might be looking at an average of $170 a month, but it's going to vary because there are going to be those parts of the season you don't need heat, you don't need air. A few parts of the season in the summertime you might want the air on, and then of course that time you want the heat on. So, however, overall, total cost is lower than the national average. Denver being 28% less for gas and 41% less for electric than the national average. You will see those utility bills vary, as I mentioned, depending on the time of year. Now, if you own a home or buy a home, water bill, right? Now that's going to vary as well. You could see that if you have xeriscaping and you're not really using that water outside in the $30 to $40 range a month. However, if you're using the water outside, you got a family, laundry, etc., you might see $100 a month in the peak seasons for water or more depending on the size of your lot of home. Now let's put some food on the table. For a family of four in Denver, you might be looking at anywhere from about $1,400 to $1,800 per month depending on the type of food you buy, where you buy it from, whether that's the regular grocery store, you go to Whole Foods, and what you buy in terms of the quality of food as well. This is going to be a little bit less than the national average. However, again, it depends on where you shop. Now, getting out of the house and going out to eat. If you're going fast food, you might expect about $15 a person. If you go fast casual, that might bump up a little bit more. A family of four might spend $70 for fast casual, which Denver has a lot of fast casual options. And then if you go for a higher end restaurant, you might spend $150. Now, bear in mind, I'm probably not including cocktails or wine for mom and dad if that is the case, because of course that would raise the cost to go out to eat. But there are some phenomenal restaurants in Denver. In fact, some more recent Michelin awards given to some restaurants here in Colorado. There are James Beard award-winning chefs here as well. So the food scene is definitely good, and there are some great fast casual, some great restaurants as well that offer kids eat free with parents during certain nights of the week, like Wahoo and Michi Italian. Those are some great places to go to for savings on food if you're trying to take those kiddos out to eat. Getting to and from, that gasoline. In Denver, you might spend anywhere from $3.25 right now to closer to $4 a gallon if you're putting that premium in the car. And as far as that goes, this is slightly less, according to AAA, slightly less than the national average for gas prices. So you might save a little bit of money on gas here, but not too much as far as it goes. And you might need that car more. Public transportation, you can make it work. But I would say that for myself, I find myself in the car more because the buses and the trains don't exactly line up like they might in New York or San Francisco or Chicago or other cities where public transport can be used as your sole means. But you can without kiddos. If you're renting here, those scooters are everywhere. You certainly can get by without a car with an Uber. If in fact it turns out you don't need the car as much, it might be something to think about to save money between gas car payment, insurance, etc., because you can get around in Denver if you're going to live in the hub. Make sure to check Google or Gas Buddy to look for savings on where gas prices are. You will see variances. It's surprising to me as I'm driving around how I might see gas prices vary, but you could probably already see that in the city where you're at right now as well. Let's talk healthcare. In Denver, there are some world-class healthcare options. Children's Hospital, Denver Health is highly rated. The VA Regional Center is here as well on the east side, kind of nearby that Children's as well. But you might see that the average cost per person might be about $7,300. And a lot of small businesses in the Denver metro area, but it depends, of course, who you work for, what kind of coverages are they providing, how big is the company, how much is your deductible, things of that nature. But you will see that to be a little bit higher, but look for those options if you're looking at taking the job out here. Yeah, that part of the benefits conversation, what that's going to look like for you and your family for budgeting purposes. Stay out of the hospital as much as possible and stay fit. You can go outside most of the year here. In fact, people play golf 12 months out of the year in Colorado. There's some people that are that dedicated, but you can get your workouts outside. Obviously, outside of Denver, the foothills are right there with some world-class skiing not far up I-70 from Vail, Breckenridge, Copper Mountain, Winter Park, Mary Jane. A little further out to Telluride, go to Crested Butte. So world-class skiing, of course, but if you're going to end up at a gym, you can go as simple as, say, a Planet Fitness, maybe $15 a month. Rec centers can be a great option. There's been a rebirth in the center of Denver with money being put into those rec centers and some great workout facilities, pickleball at the rec centers. There's pickle courts all over the city popping up. You can go as high as $150 a month. Boutique fitness is also big in Denver. So if you like boutique fitness, you will find no shortage of a plethora of options for boutique fitness. But of course, you're going to spend more per month for those memberships. But you can also look into the likes of, say, a class pass to get into some different facilities to determine which one is your jam for boutique fitness if that's your goal. And if you're coming in with kiddos, it is known or been talked about that Denver is one of the more expensive cities for daycare. It can average anywhere from $1,300 to $2,000 a month. That's what I'm seeing Redditors talk about. My personal experience, we were paying over $2,000 a month per kiddo in daycare, and we do live in Denver proper. That is something that is known to be a little bit more expensive here than, say, the national average for daycare costs. So plan accordingly, look at different options, maybe a nanny share, things of that nature that can help save you money if you don't have immediate family here to help you out. Now let's get into where you're going to live if you got those kiddos. Now, school districts obviously matter. They're important. So I'm going to talk about some average cost of housing in 4 areas in particular and what you might expect in those areas. A lot of people talk about Littleton School District. The average cost for a 3-bed, 2-bath in that area is about $649,000. Cherry Creek, not to be confused with Cherry Creek school districts, say 80206 for zip code as an example. For 3-2, you might see $797. However, if you do look in that area, it's likely a lot more if you want a single family home in the Cherry Creek proper area. Cherry Creek schools, now that's a pretty big school district, so this price is going to vary on you from as low as, say, $503, $762 for that home, depending on which part of the area do you live in for Cherry Creek schools, but it's a highly regarded school district for public schools in the Denver metro area. Then, of course, you go a little bit outside and you go to Boulder Valley, which is a highly regarded school district, and you might see that those homes range at 1.17 mil in Boulder proper. Of course, you can look in Broomfield. Some of those areas are also going to be part of Boulder Valley schools as well. If lifestyle is your jam, a little bit further out, you got Morrison, you got Evergreen in the foothills, $657 in Morrison, $745 in Evergreen for the average 3-bed, 2-bath at this time in the metro area. And that'll get you close to those hiking trails, those biking trails, close to I-70 for the ski season. And that's why a lot of people do like those areas for calling home if that part of life is important to them for outdoor activity and proximity to that for their afternoons and weekends. As far as areas to think about, if you're thinking about renting, there is Lohi, there is Rhino, there's Wash Park, there's Platt Park. If you don't have kiddos, those are some great neighborhoods. Platt Park, Wash Park, if you're gonna have kids and you wanna get into there, those homes might be a little bit more expensive, but a great urban vibe with a suburban setting in those neighborhoods, as well as Country Club and some other areas, Baker, Berkeley. These are some great neighborhoods, but also family communities in the city, more closer to the proximity of downtown for restaurants and other activities as well. So it really comes down to what matters to you. Where do you want to be? Is it going to be drive till you qualify when you buy a house? Is it very important for you to live in the urban core? What matters to you? You can kind of find it all here in Denver. So if you do decide to come, I really hope that this information was useful for you. Make sure to check out other important videos along the way and subscribe, because we have a whole catalog of videos to help you get situated, but also help build wealth through real estate. We'll talk to you soon.